Greetings, beautiful beings of light and love, grace remembered. It has been some time in some parallel nows that I've been guided to get on here and I haven't. So in that request of the inner now, I have jumped on and I wanted to follow instructions about what I want to share with you all. And so in hearing the past requests to come on here live more often, it's been all about sharing the prophetic word, prophetic dreams, and the way I always have, but with the new lenses that have been cleaned and cleansed. So, where do I begin? Let's just get tuned in together. So if you're here with me live or you're coming in on the replay, there's only now. And so in this now, we're going to just allow ourselves to connect into our inner spine, knowing that this spine is divine. So the outer story that we could see going on, no matter what part of reality, what door hole you're looking out of, your energy centers, what book you're reading for guidance, what you're hearing from within, the spine is divine. And so if you could just take a deep breath down your spine, all the way down, and then exhale, let that energy rise all the way up. So do that a few times, and then we're going to switch it. It's like we're cleaning out the central channel, prepping for today's upload. So inhaling down and exhaling up. And then we're going to switch that. So now I want you to inhale, rise the energy up, and squeeze your bum, squeeze your belly button in, bring your rib cage up. And then you're going to take another breath of air in through your mouth. And you're going to hold the breath, imagining that this inner tent is lifting up in the third ventricle of your head, your inner sinuses. And then exhale. Imagine as you exhale, the energy goes down your spine, you relax your muscles down below, and you exhale out your heart, expanding out the plane of existence. So we're going to do that again. We're going to inhale, rise the energy up. Get to your heart, open your chest. Take an extra sip of air in through your mouth. Really open up the chest. Hold the breath up to the top of the head, imagining this inner tent lifting up inside the head. And then exhaling, imagining all that energy that you just built to expand out your heart so that you go all the way across the plane, breathing and bringing this beautiful energy out your heart, expanding the plane. And let's do that one more time. Inhaling up. This time we're going to inhale up, get it to the heart, take a sip of air in. And as you lift the energy to the top of your head, realize that tent is lifting for a sacred marriage of the pituitary and pineal gland to go ahead and allow for this beautiful marriage to occur, this inner union. And then exhale, let that Christos oil, it's called, come down and bathe your spine. It expands out the heart as you're exhaling and bathes all the way down to your base. And smile. So you are here to bring heaven on earth. You are here to see things new. You're here to see everything new. See everything perfected. See everything in wholeness. And so where we find ourselves not seeing things that way because of what's coming back from the outer to the inner, because what you're seeing on the projector on the green screen shows you something that's still hiccuping or still has duality encoded into it, that you're to take that within and do this breath work to alchemize it, to get it, to use it like you're a spaceship and you're using that energy to transfigure and like fuel, to rise it up and lift this tent so that you can see in the upper astral realm. So at your heart, this 0 point at your heart, there's a lower astral realm that most people have been looking out of for so long. We've been consuming and consumed with consuming. And so if we were to look down our central channel and look out each energy center, if we were to look out each energy center, those are gateways of your spaceship. So space and your body is a ship. Your car is a ship. Your house is a ship. And we're going to go into that. But when you look down the lower astral realm as below, if we were looking at the Merkaba, and we looked down below the lower astral realm, because this is all a dream, and we looked out each energy center doorway, if we were mainly looking at the first energy center, then we are looking out of, if it's not perfected, we're looking out of survival. If it's perfected and stabilized and it's a star point, you're looking at, I am totally provided for. I have all that I need. Everyone has all that they need. Okay? If you're looking at the second energy door hole, you're looking at your relationships, consumption patterns. What's your relationship with food? What's your relationship with the others? Are you hosting or are you giving? Do you have plenty or are you in scarcity? So these are these places as the as below that we can perfect. And we can bring, like, I think, I just saw a comment about the violet flame. We could bring that violet flame, that transfiguration flame, that beautiful light purple, to transfigure any of the places that we're noticing that the projection comes back to us and shows us something of duality or of scarcity. Okay, so you've got the first 3 door holes we're looking out of the lower astral realm. Consumption, power is number 3. So if you're looking out door hole 3 and you're seeing power struggles, and mainly when I say you're looking out these gateways, it's like most of your concentrated essence of soul essence is so stabilized out that door hole. And we're done with bad and good door holes. Because we want you to eventually look out the whole thing, which is why we do breath work, because we want you to actually be able to look out the whole spaceship, every energy center as one. And so the places that we're still in the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5, or we're just looking out of one door hole because we're perfecting it, then cool. Then you're working with power. You know, there's a time and a place. There's a season for power. There's a season for consumption. There's a season for stability. Okay, so stability, number 1. Number 2, consumption. And number 3, power, strength. And where we're having any weeble wobbles in those energy centers, where they feel like, you know, all of a sudden you'll go through an immense heat, a transfiguration heat will come over you and you'll start sweating because you'll have a thought, a judgment thought, or, you know, an old way of, or a way of looking at things that all of a sudden the great soul, the great source, the great God eternal that you are will literally transfigure your energy center that has something going on that wants to be cleansed and transfigured. So just notice in your dream state, if you're soaking your bed at night with sweat, you know, what you're dreaming about, then wake up, upgrade it. Notice in your day, you know, if you have a moment that you're having just immense flush, energy center flush happen, just like do any kind of upgrading you can, because we're here to see it all new. And the new code is everything is perfect. Everything is wholeness. God eternal that you are, we're going to get to this in more depth, but God eternal that you are is the imagination. The skull, the head means heaven. And so the upper astral realm that needs to be accessed and fully occupied requires our breath work to actually lift the upper tent of the 3rd ventricle so that that holy union can happen with the pituitary and the pineal gland. And then that thalamus can really do the transfiguration for transpersonal activation of the whole plane of imagination, so that your whole beautiful imagination of seeing everything perfected, feeling everything perfected, knowing everything is perfected, then it is perfected. So, like, I get a little, like, serious. I haven't been on here in a while. Let me smile. Because everything's perfect. We've already arrived to where we want to be. And so I notice, when we're in the so-called end times, we're just seeing all the layers of reality that have been birthed out of energy-centered door holes from manuscripts, from thoughts, from timelines. And so they're all coming up because they all are coming to this grand convergence in this 0 point, in this transfiguration, so that it can come into the upper astral, the as above, okay, the upper pyramid, so that we can see that it was actually all perfected, and we can look out of the inner eye, God's eye, seeing it all as is done. So the true prayer of Gospel of Thomas, some of the hidden, Gospels that have come out from the Nag Hammadi library, is that we pray as is. And Neville Goddard talks about this. It already is. We have to know that it already is. So if we're seeking for answers and you're going to look, let's say you're going to look at YouTube for answers, what's going on in the world, and you see something of duality, then that just means you still are projecting out reality of duality, which is perfect. It's just showing you what's in the subconscious, unconscious mind that wants to be cleaned up, so that you can go, oh, wait, everything's actually wonderful. Everything's actually in wholeness. Let me go ahead and clean that up and do some breath work and smile and look, like if your eyes are closed, look out from the avatar as it's perfected. Feel it perfected. See your beloved friends and neighbors smiling and sharing and in the upper astral realm. Because in the upper as above, we are all celebrating. We are all in joy. We are all in the now. We are all experiencing grace. For those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. Now, not every one of your brothers and sisters is at this point of the spaceship expansion. They may be still down here. You could still, again, have the greatest vision for them, see them all in your mind's eye, see them in the imagination. For the imagination is God eternal, is the upper astral realm, is your higher self, is the causal realm, is the heavenly state. So when we had the great book, which I've just been, getting back into, all these sacred texts, I've had to put books away for most of my life. I wasn't allowed to look at them because I was guided to do this, bigger Akashic cleanup for the collective for the last 20 years with groups, ascension groups. But we're coming, right now, they have me into this, Bible, which is a code for the body. It gives the lower astral realms that had been, worked with in the most recent timeline, to go ahead and rise it Christo style, rise it up to the Christ within, so that you can actually expand the potential by doing all of the sacred inner work of, fasting, cleansing, clearing, cleaning yourself up, doing good, giving, being love in every possible way. I want to read. Here we go. Hi, Zoe. Just talking about violet flame and alchemy like 2 seconds ago. Yes, sometimes in the morning I get stuck in my thoughts and fear. Oh, where'd it go? And do you have any ideas for morning clearing meditations? And yeah, definitely. It's the Bible. So yeah, the morning practice is this. So breathing up the spine, doing the ascended breath, squeezing the lower energy centers. Why do we do that? We want to squeeze those lower energy centers because if we've been dominating our life with feeding the avatar, with consumption, survival, a house, power, those first three things, okay? If that's been our life, if we had not realized fully 100% of the time that everything's perfect, everything's in wholeness, we literally, see beauty, we see things, miracles, and they happen right in front of us because we literally see them into place, okay? If we haven't been in that space, in the upper projection, and we've been down low, or we could have just, been in this upper, beautiful, heavenly space most of our life, and like myself for the last year, got asked by God Eternal to go way down low and look at some stuff that I didn't deal with in the most recent ascension groups. So I was then re-highlighting old fear pathways, and it was tough, right? So if those are the door holes that we were looking out of because of it's in front of you and you haven't maybe brought back in through merger of oneness with every brother and sister possible, so there's still some brothers and sisters around you projecting the reflection back to you of duality, then it can pull you down low. Or some of you have families, you have children, that can bring up survival things that you never had thought you had to deal with, or you felt like you were just this totally enlightened soul, and then you had a child or two and it brought you into the lower realms. There's different things that can happen. Hurricanes, things like that, they can make you feel like, oh, wait a minute, I thought I had it all together, but now this energy is, making me feel something. So my point is, if you're any way looking out a lower door hole, and there's fear, then all of those endocrine glands have a lot of energy that's being activated. The adrenals for door hole 3, the kidneys for door hole 2, and the ovaries or testicles for door hole 1, gateway 1, root chakra. We look at them as gateways. So if you're coming out those gateways, that's a lot of energy in those 3 endocrine gland systems. So you want to squeeze in the morning practice and the rising practice and throughout the day, squeeze that lower body, pull your bum up, start walking around with your butt clenched. Start doing some core exercises. I just looked up yesterday, 15-minute abs. It's like a full body workout. Start doing that and really building up strength in the musculature around the lower spine so that you're squeezing out, like you're wringing out a sponge, those lower endocrine glands. You want to squeeze them out. And then all that energy that you just squeeze out is going to easily come up and give momentum to bring up that upper essence and upper energy into lifting the tent of the third ventricle, so that you can literally see. It's like, imagine if we haven't been breathing up into our head and out our heart, but we might be doing breath work all these years, but maybe you just hadn't gotten it to the T of what I'm telling you, of the upper and lower astral realm. If you've just been looking out the lower astral realm, and you've even been a meditator, and you've just been going about your day having these kind of dramas still going in your life, and you haven't been perfecting them in your meditations, meaning seeing them all perfected, knowing they're perfected, speaking them perfected to yourself, visualizing them, and then having that actualize out in front of you, then you've mainly had these huge anchors, which I'm going to go over, out in space, holding you in the lower astral realm. And I'm only using the upper and lower astral realm. There's so many dimensions. I don't know if I'll go into that today. But anyways, so do that breath work, Zoe, bringing all the energy up, rising up the tent so that you actually can see. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, everything is crisp and beautiful. And then when you expand out the heart beyond 6 feet, meaning you're going to go faster than the speed of light, and you're going to create a new simulation of what you're seeing. So when I know that you are beautiful, Zoe, and that you are holding the most perfected state of existence, and that you see all beings holding the perfected state of existence, and that we are meeting each other here for divine purpose and divine appointment, then that expanding beyond 6 feet in my aura out my heart to 5,000 times that and then beyond into infinity, I then walk with grace, and I literally am bringing heaven to earth through my thine eye and my expansion of the heart beyond the 6 feet. So this has been a really big request. If I could say the last, 7 so-called days, right? Days, you want to upgrade that word. Days means, at a duality level, to be dazed and confused and not awake and aware to what we're talking about here. So, all right. So one of the big keys, other than the breath work, of how important that is in getting your core strengthened, is to realize that you are being asked to do an inner spaceship launch. And so the dream last night, the dream reveal, the prophetic dreams, I'm writing the book, Quantum Lucid Dreaming right now, book number 4 of the Quantum. The other books are on Amazon. And it's super important. This is one of the biggest requests from God Eternal about this now moment of what's so important for us to realize the power of the astral realm. Okay, what is the astral realm? It comes out the heart where heaven and earth meet. Why did we make the pyramids in the past timeline of Egypt and beyond? Because we were utilizing that technology not only to create an Ethernet of space, of free energy, but we were utilizing that to go ahead and illuminate the tent, to lift and illuminate the upper astral realm so that we could actually have heaven on earth, so that we actually could land in our eternal state and eternal presence. Why did we meditate all these years? To illuminate the upper astral realm and realize that we're dreaming all of this wide awake. We're coming out of the shadows of time, right? That's why you bring it into your midline. Come out of the shadows of time and then rise up and see clearly God eternal. You are made in likeness of him. Him, her, it. You are made in likeness. You are God, goddess, eternal. When you illuminate all of space as your higher self and you allow the higher self, like if this was space and higher self and all those words I could give it, causal being, your atmic self, your Buddhic self, and this is the avatar of the lower self, you need to wrap it. You need to take the ether and wrap it so that you can lift yourself up and seek within heaven and then project heaven without. So your dream state is super important to give you messages. So before you lay down, you're saying higher self, God, goddess, whatever the words you're working with right now, because there is somewhat of a, totem pole for me. And if you're finding this, I see there's just one of us here, which is everybody. Zoe, we're everyone. If you're finding that there's, a succession of who you're to communicate with. So when I go to ask within, if I feel it intuitively that it's higher self, then I say, higher self, you're the aspect of consciousness, of awareness that wants to speak. Yes. Okay, higher self, go ahead tonight. I need you to help me and see anything possible that's going to assist me with, living heaven on earth. And I may even then do a visualization, which is why I've been making a few YouTubes per guidance of like the best life, and some of that might be even recoding everything that you had seen of the past, because if you get triggered by any of the things I've put on those abundance meditations, then you have to recode it and make it all new. Everything must be new, and everything is yours. We are here to be abundant. We are here to be wealthy and healthy. You already are wealthy and healthy in the kingdom, and the kingdom is your head, heaven on earth. Okay, the garden is down below. We're here to weed out the garden. It doesn't mean you only live in the upper realm of your avatar. It means you fully embody here. You squeeze that bum, you strengthen that body, and you can even do it in your mind. Okay, you can do a whole exercise routine in your mind, and it is just as powerful. So your dream time is a high place for you to do in a quiet space, because everyone's resting their avatar around you, so you can easily astral travel. You can easily lucidly dream. Tell yourself, I'm going to lucid dream tonight. I'll dream wide awake. And even in the day, you're wide awake in the dream. When you're in time, you're asleep in the shadow. You're just following the subconscious movements, which isn't bad. It's just, I need you to be like an eagle and like stealth and awake. So use your dreams. And if you're not wide awake in the dream, but you remember it when you get up, journal it, and then, you know, process it, because what you're dreaming about will literally be what you go through usually the first couple hours of your day or anywhere in your day. This is what I've found. If you dream and you're not wide awake in the dream, but you remember the dream and you go journal it, usually your dream recall is the duality that's still left, getting you so close to the heart. Because when you're in the heart, you're in the now, okay? You're wide awake, you're lucid in the dream. You're wide awake in the dream. You're present, you're in the now. But when you're getting close to where we are in this point of the rising up the inner mountain and awakening fully, usually those dream details that you remember are in the outer perimeter of the heart. So you're either still working with some duality in the lower energy centers or in the 5, 6, 7 energy centers. You're still kind of working out some details, and those reflections out in front of you that you remember the details of your dream will be showing you still some things that you believe not to be perfected and whole. And so then you can like be just really wide awake when you're in the day, because you wrote down the dreams. You're like, oh, here's that scene of the dream. You know, I have a choice here, right? You have a choice. You have a choice to be awake in that now moment where you're literally experiencing the shadow of your dream state. And you can go, okay, in my dream, you know, we maybe were just about to have a disagreement, but I am wide awake that is not what needs to happen right now. I'm going to see me in this other reflection, you know, really seeing heart to heart and, you know, making a new choice of grace and perfection. And if you can't do that with them, you close your eyes and you visualize it. Okay, so the prophetic dream last night, I don't want to make these too long, is 2 times in the dream with you all, whoever sees this today or in any now moment, we were having to clean up the spaceship. We were having to pull things in, pack things up, so that we could come in to the inner central channel and rise it up, doing the ascended breath to see things new in the perfected state, in the perfected way, so we could land into higher ground, into higher vibration, into higher wholeness and unity. And it was interesting because, you know, the first dream with you all, I was like doing numbers. I was just, was it that one? No, that was the second one. The first dream, we were in a game and we were kind of going up and down these floors. So if you look at the avatar like a game, and each door hole you go out of, if you go out the first energy center door hole and then you go out and experience life, you know, that's a huge first floor of the avatar of the spaceship of the game. If you were playing some kind of game that had all these levels, it had 7 levels or even beyond, it had, you know, 13 levels, 13 floors, or let's go into the Egyptian times of the 19 dimensions, 19 floors. Then if you came out that first energy door hole, then you would be, you know, with the chickens. What does chicken represent? Fear. You know, in the duality of sense. In the perfected wholeness, it's stability. It's a beautiful chicken. It's a beautiful hen that lays eggs, that lays perfected eggs, perfected seeds, perfected dreams and visions of wholeness and intentions for all. So in the dream, I was having us clean up, picking up all kinds of little knickknacks, toys, books, dirt, debris from the first floor and cleaning it up. From the second floor we went, okay, where it also could be seen as the animals and kids and emotions, We were picking up little things and cleaning it up. And from the third floor, the mental plane, we were cleaning it up. Ego, power, we were cleaning up, picking up books. And then we got to the heart. And I thought, oh, we can just hang out here. But when we got to the heart, I was in the spaceship, in the vehicle, and I was counting, doing numbers. And so the numbers that I'll be doing a lot of times are the Reikis 1 through 13, which is in the second book that just got published, and they're making the audio right now of it. But, and I was doing the numbers, I was doing a lot of last night's dream. We were doing 2, which is cleaning the heart so that you can have Father, Mother of Light have a seat again, so your soul can have a seat again at your heart, at a cleansed heart. We were doing 4 and 8 together. So number 4 is where the high heart lifts into bliss state. And so there's an upward golden mean spiral that starts to lift the high heart so that you're actually driving the spaceship in a more blissful, follow my bliss, follow your flow. And number 8, which is the emerald ray that comes from the high heart and the pineal gland at the same time, creating a coherence of heart and mind, so that you are seeing heaven on earth when you walk around in this upper follow your flow. And we were doing 1, which is unification of the whole brain with the whole avatar, so that we are in wholeness. Everything is wholeness, everything is perfected. And we were doing 9 a lot last night in the dream. And we were doing 9 with number 2. So it's like we were cleaning the heart and being in that luminescent love light, while at the same time cleaning all of the vortices, all the portals, eyes, ears, nose, anus, vaginal area, all the micro portals of the meridians. We were perfecting them, seeing them perfected, seeing them in wholeness, that there's nothing that could come in good or bad, that they just only know that all of this is perfect. Okay? And I was just doing that in the dream. And I was like, oh, this is where we're at. This is good. And then all of a sudden, 2 goddesses came up to me, and they were heading up again, up the mountain. They kept saying, we're going to Costa Rica. And when I woke up, I said, are we, to go to Costa Rica? And they said, no, it's Costa Rica, the frequency of Costa Rica. It's time to lift again. We're lifting higher and higher. And so the second lift, yes, is this what you feel the collective is doing right now? Yes. And I'm going to tie this all together here in one moment. So we're to lift, on the second lift of the dream, I was having us clean up again, pick up all the stuff even in the upper. So 5, clean up your words, clean up your visions, clean up your knowings. And we're going to take a flight. So if you were aware, I wasn't aware of Florida having a hurricane, even though I live here. I was asked to stay very focused on meditating and writing. I was in writing mode, and they didn't want me having anything to do with the hurricane at that moment of people preparing. Even my house, I saw all this stuff going on, but I was just had no focus on it. And now I think there's a hurricane near Costa Rica. And so the request of, all of space is us. We are all of this. We are God eternal, and all of the elements is one. So Reiki 5 is, we take all of the form, everything that we thought was form, and we see it all as light particles magnetically stacking up on each other, making what we would see out in front of us. So when you get that all of this is light and nothingness, all types of matter and antimatter and dark matter, which is 3. You got matter, which is form, antimatter, which is subtle bodies, like or the unseen, of air, of space, and you've got dark matter that will shapeshift from being seen and not seen. So when you realize that all of this is space and there's no they doing anything to us, even if you believe in, or you've had a belief come over that says, oh, the weather is, is being messed with, well, then that greater version of you is messing with it, or has made a storyline that messed with it. So you want to perfect that and say, wow, look at what's right about all this. What's right about me making a hurricane right now of swirling energy? Oh, I'm cleaning things up. Oh, I'm having everybody clean up their house and their outsides, pick things up, pick all the small things up, put them in bags and put them, in their garage, get rid of stuff, repurpose stuff. So you find what's right about it and you clean it up and you bring it in. And when you unpack it or not unpack it because you gave it away to the right places that you were guided to from your inner knowing, then you open back up the grid. Let's say you kept 5 things and you went and placed your Athena statue back out on the back right of the property. You went and placed your sacred chair that you love so much on the right side of the front right. Every time you then go replace something out in the grid of space, your spaceship, you are landed in a higher zone of your mind that you projected. So these are the holograms we talk about. So when you expand beyond the 6-foot hologram of the Taurus, the light body, when you expand and occupy all of space, you are setting up a whole world. And when you pull up the little things that are all over the place and you clean up the space and you do this expansion of mind and heart, of wholeness and seeing things so beautiful, you are literally driving this spaceship, sometimes with thousands, hundreds, millions of other souls with you. And you are landing into higher ground. That's perfected. Now the key is not to keep going back down the door holes, out the gateways and looking for things wrong and looking for things, the outer to tell you what's going on. Because you can then instantly reactivate a whole, whatever else. So watch yourself. And that was the second part of the dream. Watch what you're doing. If you notice that you're going and looking for things again, I did this last night. I went and looked on YouTube. And this is why I dreamt the dream that I had, was because they were like, okay, make sure if you're going to look that you perfect everything you see. Okay? So you find what's right about it. You see the other reflection that's still looking for something that needs to be cleaned up. And then you clean it up in your mind. And you know that it's cleaned up. You don't say, I wish and pray. You say, I know. When I pray, I know that all my brothers and sisters are finally wide awake in the higher expansion of their existence, and they know that all that this is them. They know that everything they think, say, and be and take action on is harmony and bliss and perfection. They know that if they happen to see another one in front of them that is not showing them that it's another version of them that wants to be, cared for, upgraded, tended to. It doesn't mean you turn your back on anybody. It means that, hey, you'll still go and help that other you right in front of you and do what you can do, okay? But you'll come home to your meditation station knowing that there's still something to up-level. So the request is to clean up your spaceship, space, your ships, your cars, your vehicles, your houses, any knickknacks. Pull it all in. Pull it all in. Some of it you'll put it in a bag. This is how if I'm finding you or you're finding me, or finding each other today, some things go in a bag. I don't have very many belongings. I don't need much because I have everything. Everything out here is already ours. I don't need to, collect. So I have a small bag that I'm guided to keep all the time, certain times. Some of the stuff goes to Sacred Goodwill, where it's like a portal that I know it's going to the right place. Some of the things go on the side of the road. I'm guided to put them on the side of the road because the right being is going to pull up and it's going to be for them. Some of the things get put away in a shed. And some of those things never come out again for a while. So if you're finding this and you're, if you're a space shifter of the Great Space Coaster, get some instructions, use your pendulum, ask questions, and you will drive us into the most amazing spaces and places. draw it, draw perfection. We are being asked to really put in the blueprints of perfection. And I'll have some brothers and sisters telling me, well, it's already perfect. Why do I need to write it down, or why do I need to do any of this? And you don't. You could just sit and hold space knowing everything's perfected, and when you walk around, see everything perfected, and that's your greatest gift and contribution. And some of you are going to make fun materials, fun things for people to find along the way. We had a conversation about this with the children, well, the children already are perfected. Everybody's already perfected. Why do I need to even make them any kind of materials for them to look at, like books? Because why not? Make some beautiful things for them to find, to go ahead and replace the archaic consciousness that is being folded in. So before I went to bed, I've been asking to, have prophetic word come to me, that I could help relate to those who are Christians, to those who are of any sacred text. But for the most recent, it's been really coming back to the Christianity, to understand Christ's message, Melchizedek's message, Metatron's messages, all the great sacred teachers that took that kind of anointed Christos teaching to our collective, and to remind you to check out your body. It's got the whole story within it, from the Christos oil that drops from the pineal gland, that goes down past, the Holy Cross, where the crucifixion happens at Calvary, all the way down to, your sacrum, the sacred mound. I mean, the whole story, I want to do a whole video on that, is happening within your spine when you meditate. That's your biggest gift, your biggest resurrection of bringing heaven to earth, is by you occupying this body and using it for what it was made for, which is to literally expand heaven on earth through your ability to project from your pineal gland, and to expand the vibration and frequency of bliss out your heart. And so before I went to bed, I've been having biblical verses go across my lucid dreaming, and I haven't been getting online. I'm going to do my best to get on here more. But before I went to bed, I had flip turned open to Habakkuk, Habakkuk, in the New Testament, and this is verse 2, and I laid down this Genesis cross that I've been wearing. Again, I haven't been able to wear jewelry in ages, but I've been able to wear this. And I laid it down, and it was dark in my room, but I was guided to really try to read it before I went to bed. And it said, too, I will stand at my guard post and station myself upon the rampart, and keep watch to see what he will say to me, and what answer he will give to my complaint. Then the Lord answered me and said, write down the vision clearly upon the tablets, so that one can read it readily. For the vision still has its time, pressed on to fulfillment, and will not disappoint. If it delays, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not be late. The rash man has no integrity, but the just man, because of his faith, shall live. Okay? And so I want to just stop there, and, and just share with you, for the longest time, I was probably since 25 years old, I was reading the Bible a little bit then, and then I turned away from it as what I needed to follow, not as like a turning away by my will, but by a higher will. I was really guided to start leading these ascension groups for 20 years. And, the material that came to look at was whatever the group brought, the consciousness that arrived. And recently the Bible has come back in, especially the Nag Hammadi library of the Lost Gospels that have come out, which I highly suggest you check out, because it gives you, if you've had experience where you felt like you couldn't maybe fully relate to the Bible because of a lot of the duality that's shared in the text, you know, it can be jarring, especially to someone like me who reads something and then I project it out in front of me from whatever I took in from a movie or whatever I read. So finding ways of decoding this and asking for clarity is super important when you're looking at anything. Oh, beautiful cardinal. When you're looking at anything of duality, is to find the clarity and find what's right about it. And so, you know, I've asked God's grace that if you want me to start working with the Bible, to please assist me to help decode this for those who are similar to me, because we're here to digest what we're here to digest, and the rest of you who are not needing that, and you're already found the grace and the glory and the perfected state, awesome. Keep it up, keep shining that. But this was a flip turn last night to give me a strong clarity before I went to bed about, you know, how important is the quantum lucid dreaming book that they want me, or, you know, God Eternal wants me to write and get finished writing, is because it's a tablet that will be found at the right time, right place. Okay, and I say time because not all of your reflections are fully up the mount just yet. And so some of you who find this, you may have a book that's been wanting to come out. If you want to know how to publish it for free, you know, reach out to me. I'll share the easy steps. Some of you are being guided to make these blueprints for the collective, you know, for children, for the adult child who's waking up out of their infancy into maturity, coming out of, you know, forgetting that they were alive, they were a living man, woman, soul, and they were under the sleepiness of thinking that they were a dead entity called a corpse, called an all capital name. You know, all of these things that I had to go deep diving on in the past year. I'm still in awe of the grace that's come about by having to look at that, but I'm guided to write what I'm meant to write, and so those others can find it at the right place and right time for them. Meaning, time is frequency, and when you step out of time, you step out of frequency, and you come to stillness. This is kind of long-winded. It's still 47 minutes. I know it's exactly what it needed to be. So let me just wrap it up here. The high requests, just to recap, and then we'll complete, is number 1, do your rising and setting breath work. Okay? Do the ascended breath, squeeze the lower body, rise it up, open the upper head, lift that up, the energy, so you can see heaven on earth, and expand that out. Close your eyes before you're going to bed, and before you get up, really see out from the avatar, looking out as if you're not wishing for things, you're not hoping for things, you're seeing things perfected. Smile, see it perfected, see it in wholeness. Write about it, you know, make an audio, talk to yourself, tell yourself how perfect everything is and how beautiful you are. Look in the mirror. I don't have very many mirrors because I was given the assignment to get rid of them all, but I have one in my bathroom. Look in the mirror and, you know, just love on yourself, okay? So that the reflection can love back on you, and so that you can have an easier time here to bring heaven on earth. And then number 2, the request is to clean up your house, inside and out. Put away things that need to be put up so that you can fly the spaceship much easier, so your anchors can be lifted, meaning density, that, you know, you don't, if you could only realize how much one little pencil is holding density and weight, if you don't like that pencil, or you wrote a lot of things in that pencil of anger, it's got a lot of density attached to it. So you can clear it with your pendulum, swing the pendulum around it until it stops spinning. Clean up the 19 dimensions. If you're looking at the Egyptian wisdom and technology of the sacred pyramid, knowing that every dimension may need to be cleaned up. So you could be standing in one spot and you go, is this space clear? And it says no. And you're saying, okay, dimensionally, do I need to clear it? Yes. Okay. And then all of a sudden you see 1, 3, 8, or for Zoe, she sees 47. You know, it could be about the 47 in some other way, but since I'm using this example right now, it could mean to clean up the 4th and 7th dimension. And you can just allow your pendulum to swing You can use your body sway and allow it to move about until it's done clearing. And then you're going to have an easier time flying heaven on earth in the presence, being the present, being the gift. And that's it. So let's complete this and know that you're exactly where you need to be. You're the most beautiful, perfected soul that there ever could be, eternally. Close your eyes, see all your brothers and sisters smiling and happy and in joy in their perfected state, always provided for. Everything that they could ever need is already here. And everything that they ever knew they were meant to have in the highest of wealth, for wealth is only light stacking upon itself, creating the most beautiful picture out in front of them. There is nothing you're not meant to have. This is all a dream. Allow yourself to have it all, to be it all. Allow all others in your mind's eye, your neighbors, your community, to have everything they could ever want. See them smiling, laughing, playing. And the dogs celebrating with their bark. See your animals happy and joy. That's a happy bark. See all your friends and relatives also cleaning up their spaceships so that it's an easy flight home to the heart, to the now, to heaven on earth. And see one action step to complete when we are complete here that you'll take. And visualize one action step that really makes this be true for you. I'm cutting a lemon open. And then hands to heart, deep breath in all the way to the top of the head. Lift the tent, project that out, smile, and exhale, expand all the way across the plane, this heavenly state. And so it is. Love you. Have a great day. Until next time.